Greetings, Mason Storm here. On today's episode, I was exploring the grocery store in the town far over from my local one, and I saw it had some bison meat. So I thought I'd make some bison burgers. Stay tuned to see how it's done. The ingredients I've decided upon are relatively conservative, consisting of 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, an egg, 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, a quarter cup of panko, and what I thought was a pound of bison meat. It actually turned out to be a little bit less. It was written in French. To begin our process, we're going to take our egg first, and we're just going to beat it. We want a nice, smoothly consistent egg for the rest of this process. You can technically do it without beating the egg at this point, but it definitely makes everything a lot easier if you do this first. Then we'll get out our mixing bowl, and then we're going to start adding in our ingredients. I got the meat in there, going to throw in the different spices, as well as the panko and the cayenne pepper. And then we can begin the mixing process by hand. I think mixing burgers by hand is probably the best way to go. And just like in my video about hamburgers, the trick to making a good burger is not to mix the crap out of it, that you get all the juices out of it. You're not making meatballs or hamburgers. They need to be nice and juicy, so a gentle hand and a light mixing is what you want to do. Not anything too aggressive, not anything too stressful. You know, you need to be kind to your meat. And if you don't have enough meat in your bison, feel free to add some hamburger to it as well. They're pretty much the same animal, they just taste different and look different. And I got my scale out here, and I'm just going to weigh the patty, or the meat, and then I'm going to be able to divide that up for making equal size patties. And I decided on making 200 gram patties, which basically the thing made 2 of them. So I guess that's a little bit bigger than a quarter pounder. It's closer to a half pounder, so that's always good. You can make them smaller if you want. When it comes to forming your hamburgers, I think a nice gentle hand is the best way to do it. And the thing I like to do when I make my burgers is make them nice and thin and go a little bit wider. I find a lot of people, when they make their homemade burgers, they don't go wide enough, because the burgers also shrink a little bit when you cook them as well. And because they're so narrow and they're so thick, when toppings are put on the bun, it doesn't really balance very well like a hamburger bun, and that just causes problems. You bite into the burger, you get stuff that's just bread with no meat, and then your bun is kind of a balancing act to try to hold it on with all the different sub toppings that you put on your burger. So there's definitely a technique to it. And I'm going to pan fry these. So I got my nice cast iron pan out on the stove. Going to go for kind of a medium higher heat, kind of something like that. And I think the key is too, you got to let your pan heat up, especially if you're making multiple. That way your cooking times are consistent between the two. And a nice cast iron pan like this, you want it all preheated. And you don't want it to be too hot, or else it kind of just fries the outer casing but doesn't cook the middle, and that's also unfortunate. That's the other thing that can kind of go wrong on burgers. Well, actually there's a lot of things that can go wrong when making burgers, but having your stove top or your grill too hot is definitely one of them. Another one is putting too much breading in your burgers and they all fall apart. That's also quite unfortunate. But it is what it is. So now we're just gonna toss our burgers onto the skillet now that it's kind of warmed up, and we can begin the cooking process. And I'm gonna do the old-fashioned cook it for 3 minutes, flip it, cook it for 3 minutes, test it with a thermometer, see where it is, cook it a couple more minutes, flip it, cook it a couple more, and test it again, and usually that gets you pretty close to perfect. It won't be too long until the burgers are ready. And once they are, then you can put them on a bun with all the fixings that you want. Or you can do what I did. I had mine with a little bit of rice and some carrots. I think that hamburgers go really good with rice. I don't know what it is. It's just a great combination. kind of prefer rice over bread anyway. The other thing I could have done would be to put gravy on top. Now that's always delicious. And I was out of my packets of instant gravy beef flavor, so that's kind of why I didn't do that. I didn't feel ambitious enough to make a onion gravy either, which usually goes really good with this style of meat. So let me know in the comments below how you like to have your bison burgers, or if you like to eat them with rice like I do. I don't think I'm the only weird person out there, but maybe I am. If you like my content, feel free to like and subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome.